Houston Dynamo, Portland Timbers, Sporting Kansas City, Los Angeles Galaxy,
Pitch Pass,
Toronto FC, Real Salt Lake, Chicago Fire, Columbus Crew, FC Dallas, New York Red Bulls.
Pitch Pass, your all-access credential to the people that matter in MLS. Here's your host, Greg Roach.
MLS Cup 2013 is finally upon us. Welcome to Pitch Pass. Thank you so much for downloading the show. PitchPass.com for everything related to the show, including how you can maybe donate to the show. Thank you for downloading. Tell some friends. That's the least you can do, right? We're going to get you all set up for the match Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern at Sporting Park, featuring Sporting Kansas City versus Real Salt Lake. And we'll do that by talking with Brian Dunseth a little later on in the show. He covers Real Salt Lake, so he should know tactically what's going on and what are some of the key matchups we need to look forward to for the match on Saturday. And we were going to have a player from one of the two teams on this week, but I have found historically these guys tend to get a little tight, shut down, get into that game mode just before a big match like this. So rather than talking to a guy who maybe isn't ready to open up or probably doesn't feel comfortable opening up at this point, figured we'd bring a guy in who has been in that situation before and can talk to us about what a player's mindset is like leading up to a big match like this. And to do that, we bring in our good friend and New York Red Bulls midfielder, Dax McCarty. Dax, thank you so much for joining us again. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm hanging in there. I'm enjoying the off-season, enjoying resting and kicking the legs up.
I saw that you were in Orlando doing some shopping, which was very nice.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Orlando City, being that's your area?
Yeah, my thoughts on Orlando City I've been pretty vocal about it. I'm a huge supporter of soccer, specifically MLS being brought back to the Southeast. I think that was a huge void in the geography of where MLS is trying to make their footprint. And being in Florida, for me is obviously a no-brainer. The fact that it's actually in the city where I grew up, in the city where my family and a bunch of my friends live, the fact that MLS has decided to, award them an MLS franchise is incredible. Something that I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of the whole fan base. I'm proud of the city. Obviously, I'm impressed and very proud of the team and the coaches and the players and the front office in Orlando. I think they're doing things the right way. I think they've been successful on the field, and if you look at what Don Garber says that he wants in an MLS team, they have it all. I actually went and I toured around the site where they're going to build the stadium. It's a couple blocks from the Amway Center where the
nice.
Magic play, and it's right downtown Orlando. So all the parameters they checked off, and I think that they're going to be a very successful franchise. And obviously, it's a good thing for this league.
And you probably, growing up, you probably never imagined that there would be a MLS franchise so close to where you grew up. When did it start becoming a reality to you of, holy crap, these guys got their stuff together? There could be a team in Orlando.
Never, I'll say never in a million years did I think Orlando had a realistic chance of getting a Major League Soccer team. And it's not because, the city can't handle it. It was just mainly because there are other big cities in Florida that I thought might get a crack first. But when I started, it's funny, when they were the Austin Aztecs, which they were a couple years ago, I still had a bunch of friends that played on the Austin Aztecs that I went to North Carolina with, Jamie Watson, Michael Callahan, to name a few guys. When they moved to Orlando, I stayed in touch with those guys, and when I would go home for the off season, I would hang out with Jamie, and he introduced me to their ownership. He introduced me to Phil Rollins and Adrian Heath. I trained with him a couple times to stay in shape. And that first year that they were in the league, and I'm pretty sure they won it. I'm not positive, but I think they won the title. And their stated ambition after that was, we want to be an MLS franchise. The reason they moved from Austin to Orlando was because they wanted to be in the MLS. So that's when I first started to think, wow, maybe this is a possibility. These guys have really bright heads on their shoulders. They have a good team. The fan base was improving every year. So that was something that, for me, I finally started to realize maybe after 2 or 3 years of them being in the USL. Maybe I'd say 2 years ago, it became a really strong reality that they could do it.
And all due respect to your current situation, can we foresee a 38-year-old grizzled Dax McCarty coming home for one last season under a DP contract, of course?
Oh, well, the DP contract would say a lot. But, yeah, I've been asked this question before, and my answer has always been the same. I'm extremely happy in New York. New York has been a amazing to me. The fans are incredible. Red Bull Arena is the best stadium in MLS, in my opinion. And our team is very good. We have a very good team. We're very strong. We have a very strong ownership and obviously great coaching staff. So I couldn't be happier in New York. I would love to play out my foreseeable future in New York. I have, hopefully a good couple of years left here. I have a bunch of years, a couple of years left on my contract here, and that's something that I'll always respect and something that I'll always focus on. But that being said, I'd be lying if I said that, I wasn't interested in being able to play at least 1 year in front of my family and friends in Orlando when I'm an older guy, and maybe, maybe I'm worth more money, or maybe I'm worth a developmental contract by that age. But who knows? That's the great thing about MLS. That's the great thing about being an athlete, and it's also kind of a curse. Is your future is always kind of up in the air. And to me, I love it in New York, and I wouldn't leave New York for anything right now. But that being said, in the future, depending on certain things and how things go, and how I play, and if I can stay healthy and all those good things, I would love to be able to play professional soccer games regularly in front of a sold out crowd, in front of my family and friends in the place that I grew up, because I never thought I would see the day it happened. But that being said, if it doesn't happen, if I retire and I'm still a New York Red Bull, I will be perfectly happy with that, and I hope the fans will be too.
A lot of our rest of our conversation is going to be you as a player telling me about what a player will be going through. And we're going to start actually with your mindset right now as far as the New York Red Bull moves, or I'll say the exodus that has been happening the last few weeks. It's a in Petke we trust situation, I'm sure, on your part. But how was it those few days where it seemed as if every day you were sending out tweets saying, I'm going to miss this guy, I'm going to miss this guy, I'm going to miss this guy?
It sucks about our business. The reality is this is the business we signed up for, and this is the business we're in. With MLS being structured the way that it is, every single year teams are going to have turnover, and that's how it goes. It's not just New York Red Bulls. I mean, people might say, because of who we are and because of some of the players that we do let go, we might be a little bit more stick for it. It might be a little bit more out there in the media and with fans. But I think, to be quite honest, this is just the reality of our situations. I think, when I was in Dallas and I wasn't protected for the expansion draft in 2011 season, I think, I was taken back and I was surprised. But then I realized quickly that this can happen to anyone. This is a league that just, obviously the salary cap affects a lot of things. And so when you have players that are making a lot of money, and when they have guys in their positions that step up and play well, the reality of the situation is it makes you expendable. And, in my opinion, like I've said on Twitter and like I've made known, I'm not shy about, how I feel about certain guys that I was close with on this team that, I obviously would have loved to see them in New York the next couple of years. And, but the way the business works, I knew it was always a possibility that I was going to be losing a couple close friends and a couple great teammates. And it's not just the guys that I'm close with. It's the guys that, I'm not as close with that I'll miss as well. I mean, our team this year was very successful. We put a major trophy in our trophy case for the first time in 18 years, and that this franchise should be very proud of that. So all the guys on the roster, from number 1 to number 28, 29, to the coaching staff, to the equipment managers, to our front office, everyone should be proud of what we accomplished, and we did it together. But that being said, obviously I'm upset that a couple of guys are going to be moving on, and I just hope and keep my fingers crossed that they don't come back to hurt us in the long run.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that stuck to me was it's like, hey, these Red Bulls had probably one of their most successful seasons in the history of the franchise. So when you start seeing that guys who were major contributors are starting to move on, that's the thing that made me kind of scratch my head. And I know you have a good relationship with your coach. You had to have called him and go, "There's a plan, right, Mike? There's a plan."
The funny thing is what we do as players is, and that's the way my mindset is. I try to never question our front office, our coaching staff, our organization. I never question what their vision is and what their direction is, because you have to hope and you have to pray that as a player, they do have a plan and they do have a reason behind making the moves that they do make. I obviously I can't comment on the reasons behind getting rid of the guys. That's just the nature of the business, and that's something that's always going to be a reality in MLS. So you have to accept it. And yeah, I would say that obviously, I'll probably have a conversation with Mike, and he's a really open guy, and he'll be honest with us, and he'll tell us how it works, and this is just the reality of the business we're in. So, like I said, it's definitely upsetting, but this is something that's not new in this league. I just hope, a guy like Brandon Barkley just doesn't come back and do what he did to DC United after they let go of him. I mean, that was a sort of sweet justice for him, and let's just hope that he does that to DC again next year, not to us.
Don Garber just gave the state of the league not too long ago, and one of the questions I wanted to ask you, because it pertains to on the field things, is the question about the winter schedule. Now, you played. You're a Florida boy, so that'll I would assume lean you towards one direction, but you also played in the now infamous snow game, or came out and trained, warmed up for the snow game against DC United last season. That's New York. We're looking Toronto, Montreal, points north. What would be your thoughts on playing a winter schedule?
That's a tough question because the answer is very complicated, and I think Don Garber does a good job of answering the question honestly and candidly, and the points that he makes are valid points, and I think there's arguments for and against both schedules. So for me, playing throughout the winter, you would be in line with the European season, and I think that would be great for our national team. I think that would be great for maybe our viewing audiences. Maybe TV ratings would be a little bit better because you'd have more viewers. But that being said, we live in a massive country. We live in a country with weather that just is so unpredictable that it would be really tough to justify moving to a winter calendar. I think the main thing with the snow is that it's really tough to play a game on grass in a big snowstorm. I mean, we saw the U.S. game, that famous U.S. game where they continued to play, and that, let's be honest, let's call it what it was. That wasn't really a soccer game. That was just kind of two teams getting through the weather and just kind of kicking the ball back and forth. So I think it would be very difficult. You'd have to have heated turf fields. I think that's how they get through it in Russia and Ukraine and countries like that. Obviously, I don't know for sure, but I'm positive that some teams do it that way because that's the reality is that's really the only way they can play through those really harsh winters. So I think there's arguments for and against it. I personally, I like the way that MLS is set up now, playing through the summer. I think it makes for, obviously a schedule that doesn't take a break and it makes for plenty of games. But that being said, I wouldn't be opposed to moving to a winter schedule if they could figure out ways to maybe work around the inclement weather because, like you said, we were preparing to play a playoff game, and I believe it was late November against DC United. And I mean, the nor'easter came through and just really messed up a lot of plans for people. So those are things that are always going to be a touchy subject. The way the league goes, the direction the league goes, I'm sure they'll have a bunch of analysts making sure that whatever decision they make is the right one.
Dax, take us into the mindset of the guys on Real Salt Lake and Sporting Kansas City as they prepare for their match for MLS Cup on Saturday. The 2-week break, let's just take it step by step. The 2-week break after, you've gotten through the Eastern Conference final, the Western Conference final. What do you do at that point when you've got a week of basically downtime?
Yeah. Well, we went through the same thing when I went to MLS Cup with FC Dallas in 2010. There was certainly not that big of a break, but there was a definite break. I believe it was like 10, 11 days of a break in between the conference finals and the MLS Cup. So what you want to do is you want to celebrate where you've gotten to that point. An Eastern Conference championship and a Western Conference championship is certainly a good accomplishment. And then once you enjoy that for a couple of days and you get your legs back, all your focus has to go on putting every ounce of energy into one final game. I mean, in this league, we have playoffs. and the playoffs are the most important thing in this league. If this was a European type of league, then obviously we'd be sitting here as champions, but it's not. This is the MLS. So the MLS Cup is the Super Bowl. That's what teams play for. That's all the marbles there. So going through the mindset of the players, I think what you want to do is keep it light. You want to be relaxed. You want to be happy. You want to be joking around in training. And you want to be training hard, but you don't want to be going too hard to where you're, going to pick up a stupid niggle or a stupid injury in training, because the most important thing is that you have your best 11 players healthy for the MLS Cup. So if you have a couple guys that are nagging injuries, this break is probably great for them. I think Chris Wingert has been nursing a pretty bad injury, and I think, this big break has given him a chance to realistically make him a possibility for MLS Cup. I think the same thing with Saborio. I'm not quite sure about that, but the break is certainly tough for fans and for media, because you don't want to lose that momentum. You always want to have the next game that next weekend, so you can build up the hype and you can promote the hell out of it, and you can do all these things that would really build up the hype. But I think for the most part, the biggest thing for me as a player is you want to have the best 11 players on the field for both teams. You want to see the best players from both teams on the field, and who is going to be the best team at the end of the game. I mean, that's the most important thing, in my opinion, is that you have both teams are fully healthy. And so to me, the break is a good thing, because it gives players a chance to recover and rest, and there's no excuses. You go out on the field and the better team will win. And that's how I think, the game is going to go. And hopefully the players are relaxed. They're going to be a little bit nervous. I mean, the MLS Cup is, it's like any other big sporting event. It's kind of a little bit of a pageant. You have media, you have interviews, you have cameras in your face all the time. You have fans all around you. So it's a little bit of a pageant. And I think the team that's going to do the best is the team that puts it out, the team that is the most relaxed, and the team that's obviously not as nervous.
How fine of a line is it of ramping up too early for a match like this? And at what point during this week do you really start getting that laser focus on, okay, I've recuperated, we had fun the first few days of the first week. At what point do we really start getting that laser focus and putting our game face on, so to speak?
MLS Cup is Saturday, I believe. So to answer that question, Wednesday, Thursday is the time where you're going to have your hardest training sessions. You want to push guys' legs. You want to make sure that guys are not losing fitness by having too easy of training sessions. So tomorrow and Thursday, I believe that these teams will, push their paces a little bit. They'll push the players a little harder. And then, Thursday, Friday, it'll be about pushing the legs, but also about tactical work. And look, these are both great teams. They're both good coaches. They've definitely been working on tactics for the past couple of days, because this will be a very tactical game. Two teams that play completely different formations, and obviously two teams that are fun to watch. So it'll be a great game. That players they've been mentally focused for the past week on the task at hand, but I think it's been light. Now you'll see in the next few days, the focus will ramp up another notch, and you won't see guys out and about. You won't see guys out, late. You won't see guys doing much other than relaxing in their hotel rooms, maybe see a movie or two. But yeah, this is for all the marbles. You want guys focused and ready to play at their highest level. I know you're not going to speak for any of the other players, but from your own personal experience, at what point during the week when you're carrying an injury do you say to yourself, you know what, I don't know if I can go on Saturday? At what point during the week does that realization start to occur, or the other side occur, going, you know what, I probably can push through this at some point? Yeah, I think it's probably 2 days before the game is when, as a player, your body the best. You know how far you can push your body through pain. You know that if you have a little bit of an injury, if this is the type of injury that you can play through or not. And that'll always happen 2 or 3 days before a game. And whenever I have a little bit of a back spasm or a muscle tightness, I say to myself, all right, if I get treatment on this for 2 days, if I not take it easy in training, but make sure I'm smart in training about not doing something stupid to injure it more, then I know that I'll be ready to play. It's hard to answer because every player is different. Every player has different pain thresholds. you just hope that your best players, if they are carrying little knocks and little injuries, you just hope that, they take a shot or they take some painkillers and they just get on with it and they say that they're going to be ready to play because when it comes down to it, once the adrenaline starts flowing, that's the best painkiller in and of itself is being able to get out there and hear the fans. And once you step on the field, sometimes the pain that you have in training or the pain that you have when you wake up, that just seems to go away and disappear for 90 minutes because you know that after 90 minutes you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's going to be something that no one will be able to take away from you as a championship.
People always talk about during Super Bowl week what team or which players are going to be able to put aside the pageantry of the Super Bowl because the game is laid out so differently than what players are used to. You kind of alluded to that as well in your experience playing for FC Dallas in your match for MLS Cup versus Colorado Rapids. Is there that situation for MLS Cup where things are a little different? The times we go out to warm up are different. Maybe the lead up once we're on the pitch with our tracksuits off is a little longer. Does that happen in MLS Cup?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is very regimented. Everything is very on schedule. I think, the teams, for the most part, the teams get to choose when they want to train. I'm not sure how it will work now with the host team being Sporting Kansas City. I'm not sure if they get preference over their training time. So I'm not sure how too much of that works. What I will say and what I do know is that both teams are afforded every luxury to be able to compete at the highest level. Both teams will be on the same playing field. I'm sure that Real Salt Lake, if the game is Saturday, I'm sure they'll fly out either tomorrow or at the latest on Thursday to be in Kansas City to get acclimated to the weather, to get acclimated to the field. I'd be very surprised if Real Salt Lake didn't fly out tomorrow or even got to Kansas City already today because you want to be as familiar as you possibly can with the field. Kansas City is going to be at home. To me, that gives them a slight edge because we all know that in MLS, when teams play at home, they tend to be a lot stronger than they are on the road. But you have to obviously realize that this is a one-off game. This is the playoffs. This isn't a regular season game. So I think it'll be an interesting tactical battle, and I think that it'll be a game that's certainly going to live up to the hype. But yeah, the pageantry and all that stuff, it's different. It has a much different feel than the regular season. You have more reporters, you have more fans, you have more bigwigs out, you have players from other teams lurking around your hotel. And it's fun. You want to enjoy it. That's the main thing. You want to soak it all in because you don't know when you're going to have another chance to go back to MLS Cup and compete for a championship. So I always try to have as much fun as I possibly can. When I play in a big game, you have to balance that between focus and making sure you're relaxed. So I think both teams are ready. I think both teams will be prepared to the fullest extent because both teams have very good coaches. So we'll see. It should be a great game. Now,
Dax, will you be one of those players lurking in the hotel room?
I will be lurking. This is going to be the first time that I attend MLS Cup, not as a player.
What made you decide that this is the year you want to go?
Well, it's a couple things. MLS reached out to me, and they seem to think that I have a very engaging personality, and they wanted me there to, do some promotional appearances and go mingle and be there for a few places and a few things that I think some other players will be at as well. So that was an honor for me. It's obviously going to be a joy to, mingle and be able to meet some people that make MLS work, some people in the front office, and obviously the fans that are going to be at some of these cool events that MLS Cup has. So that was the main thing. And MLS was brilliant. I'll be able to have a companion. My girlfriend is going to come out with me, so it'll be fun because I think this will be her first experience at an MLS Cup.
Nice.
So it's just as a player, it's going to be hard for me to watch the game because I'm going to be pissed off that I'm not playing in it, and that's normal. I always would rather be playing than watching, but the reality is we lost to fair and square to a good playoff team in Houston. But I'll be trying to soak it in as a spectator.
You seemed to be the most comfortable of the MLS 36 guys as far as having the cameras following you around. It was almost as if you were born to have cameras following you around all the time.
Yeah, I mean, if you had this face, you would obviously be comfortable with cameras on you all the time, I'm pushing for my own reality TV show, so No, I'm just kidding. I came into the league at a young age. I was 18, and I was used to it, and I took a lot of pride in being engaging and being someone that's not just boring to talk to, someone that's not just a guy that, you're going to talk to him about soccer and he's going to give you some robot answers.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a guy that people actually, when they hung up the phone with me or when they finished talking to me, I wanted to be a guy that people said, wow, that guy is not just a dumb jock. You know, he's got some substance to him. And it's been fun. I look at all that stuff as fun, and I don't see the point in being guarded and holding back. There are certain things that obviously you have to be guarded about, and you can't go into too much detail about. But for the most part, fans are the whole reason that we have jobs. Fans are why we play the game. Other than the passion for the sport, fans pay our bills, and they are people that, I appreciate. And if I wasn't, a guy that reached out and wanted to interact with them, I would feel bad, and I would feel like, I wasn't giving, the community or the fans all that they deserve. So I always try to be a guy that's approachable. Sometimes I'll crack a joke and it just won't be funny at all. And you just got to take stuff like that on the chin. And, I think the more you put yourself out there, whether it be on camera, whether it be on Twitter, on Instagram, I think the more people appreciate you. And I think the more people can relate to you on just a personal level and not just as, oh, this guy's an athlete and, he doesn't care about the people that, really are passionate about the team. So that's something I take a lot of pride in, and I'm glad that MLS has invited me to go out to MLS Cup, and that's something that I'm going to soak in and, going to try to make some people laugh and sign some autographs and just overall have a good time.
Are you sad that you can't bring your Movember mustache with you to MLS Cup?
I am, and I wanted to. I was getting compliments left and right about it.
Of course you were, Dax.
The boss, my girlfriend said that I had to shave it, so that was disappointing, but she's got her reasons.
So there was a chance that you would have kept the Movember mustache into December.
In all honesty, I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have shaved it because mustaches get incredibly annoying. They do. I've seen you had a mustache
yes.
for quite a while.
Yep.
I don't know if you still have it.
No, I had to shave it.
I don't know. People that have facial hair longer than a month, I got to tip my hat to you because I don't know how you do it. It's just, to me, it's itchy and gets I don't groom it, so my hair comes over my lip, kind of gets in my mouth. I get food stuck in it when I eat. Yeah, it's just one of those things that I just don't think I could have handled it. If I'm doing it for a good cause, no problem. But if I don't have to have it, I don't think I would have kept it.
Now, did you do it officially through Movember? Like, were you doing fundraising along with it?
I was. I had my own page. I tweeted out a selfie, and I never take selfies. I literally have never taken one selfie in my entire life. But I figured I would for the cancer awareness, and I had my own page, and I'm gonna check on that in the next few days with the Red Bulls and see if I did my part and I raised a little bit of money. I hope I did, but I think it's great that these guys that started Movember 10 years ago or however long it was with an idea.
Yeah.
I think it's grown into something that's just massive, and that's what America is all about. That's what that's what we're founded on. It's just people having great ideas and them evolving and turning into things that people can participate in. So it's a great cause, and I'm going to support it for as long as I can. And as long as I can grow facial hair, that mustache will be on my lip every November.
Dax, the guys that founded it were Australian, but I do appreciate your pro-American sentiment.
Exactly. Australian and American, they both start with an A. It's the same thing.
Next year, let's see what we can do to maybe get on the same Movember team, so that we can maybe combine all our efforts and do like a big
let's tag team
fundraising
that thing,
thing.
That'll raise tons of money.
Enjoy yourself in Kansas City, Dax, and I thank you for taking us a little behind the scenes on a player's mindset getting into MLS Cup.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Roach. Have a good one.
I love me some Dax McCarty, and I really appreciate him joining us. I thought that was kind of interesting, just getting that perspective of a guy who's been there and probably will be again.